I flew with a pilot with a light aircraft out of Shoreham Airport in Sussex to Calais in France. Now, the BBC did not hire the plane, nor did we pay the pilot. We did cover the cost of the fuel. All the pilot had to do was register a flight plan to say where we were flying to. That goes to the control tower and air traffic control, and another form which asks us for our names, dates of birth, our addresses and passport numbers. That form is for the UK Border Agency. We handed that into an office as we strolled out to get into our plane, but we could have been anyone. No picture ID asked for, no scanners, just a walk from the office to our aircraft. We landed in Calais, again no one interested in who we were, how many of us there were. We went for a walk outside the airport, then after about an hour decided the time had come to see how easy it was to get into the UK. Now remember, Britain is supposed to be a nation on a heightened level of security, but this is what we found. Well, we've just landed at Shoreham and we've parked up and you hear the engine switched off. Coming into Blighty, never showing your passport, it's as easy as that. Now, we said on our form in Calais that there were 2 of us on the plane, but frankly, there could have been 4 or 5 of us. No one has checked or even seems to care.
We asked the government to respond to this. They turned down our request for an interview. They say that because you and the pilot registered the flight details, that the UK Border Agency decided you were low risk and therefore no further details needed checking.
Well, they're right. We are low risk, but, and here's the point, we are who we claimed we are, but we could have been anyone because, you know, no one ever asked for any picture ID. Also, I have doubts that these checks were made using our passport numbers before we took off, because the office we handed them into seemed surprised when we handed them in, and the chap behind the desk said he'd take them off our hands, and we were in the air minutes later.
Paul Greer reporting. Well, I've been talking to the Conservative MP Patrick Mercer. He's a former Homeland Security spokesperson for the Tory party. He gave me his reaction.
I am shocked because the air exclusion zone, which has been placed around southeast London and the Olympic parks generally, is large, but clearly not large enough. And of course the outer periphery of the air exclusion zone ought to be subject to the tightest of scrutiny just at the moment. Therefore, passports not being checked correctly, air freight and other air passengers not being checked correctly is something that worries me deeply at the moment.
The government say this is not a loophole in security, this is not lax security. What they say is that when the pilot and our reporter registered their flight details, they were deemed low risk, which is why no face-to-face passport or luggage checks were carried out.
Yes, I understand that, and I understand that in normal times, perhaps that sort of thing would be waved through. You can't police every single area. But at not normal times at the moment, and these are exactly the sort of things that should be checked. Nobody at the moment should be taken at face value, and they may be low risk, but of course, unless they are physically checked out, you don't know whether they've got a gun pointed to their head, or whether they've been told to load something utterly dangerous, whether they're carrying a third person who's not been identified. These sorts of things have got to be tightened, at least for the Olympic period. I appreciate that it may not be possible to do it all the time.